Hello everybody, this is Betty and welcome back to the Dwarf Fortress playthrough slash tutorial. I seem to have slacked on the tutorial part, but hopefully that gets changed now. Okay, where we were setting up, or we were digging out a spot for farm to go there, and the reason we're doing this here is because the crops that dwarves initially start with all grew underground, and you can see how it says right here it's inside, it's dark, and it's subterranean. Out here, outside, light, and above ground. There are above ground crops that we can grow, but those have to be either found in the wild or bought off traders, like wild carrots. If we gathered these, we could also get like seeds from them, or I guess cuttings from them, and we can grow our own carrots from there above ground. Same with finger millet right here, and there's more finger millet, more carrots, and there's some spelt. I'm not sure what that is, but and there's some lettuces and prickleberries. A lot of the things that you see on the ground there can be harvested away. Like the thing here is a spelt, and this right here is an apricot tree sapling, and right here is more prickleberries, while over here are, prickleberry bush that's been walked on and is dead now, and these things right here are just boulders, which don't really do much of anything at the moment. We also found not only obsidian, which obsidian is good because it's a lava resistant metal, or lava resistant ore that we can make some pretty fancy tables, chairs, doors, or anything out of stone, really. We also found hematite. Hematite is an ore of iron, and that will be very, very useful as we get the metal industry up. We're getting the central shaft of the, I guess the central stairway finished up, and this looks like it could be marble. And yes, it is. We actually have the stuff now, besides the sorry about that. We have the stuff now, besides the industry itself, for steel. And steel is very good. Well, it's good for armor, it's good for slashing and stabbing weapons. If we wanted to make maces and warhammers, silver might be the better one because it's more dense, and that is something that the game does take into account, is the density of, like this right here, it's 278, I guess, little pounds or something. I'm not sure what the doors will have right there, but it's useful for making steel bars, useful for making pig iron bars, and useful for making quicklime, which we'll get into later on that. Let's hit V for description, and it just says this is marble. And speaking of tutorial things, I'll get into what keys do what as we go along, but let's also get, like this. Hitting D brings up designations, and there's all kinds of ones. There's, from mining, and there's digging upstairs, and then digging up and downstairs, removing upstairs and ramps, chopping down trees, gathering plants, smoothing stone and engraving stone, carving fortifications, carving tracks, toggle engravings, and so forth. But what we're wanting is H, channel. And channel is a person will be standing on the top here and basically just dig a hole down. And that's what we're doing to take out this section. And we'll also want to channel out another spot here, because the way I have it planned, actually we'll want two spots right here channeled out. The way the walls are going to be, at least for the inner fort, because I'm eventually going to have a lot of the spot up here, the land above, will be used for stuff, as well as below ground. But right here, just for the time being, it'll be the central entrance to our fort. And that is going to need a bit of work. But it's also going to need fortifications early on. So what we're doing is we're going to square this out. We're going to remove some of this back and hitting K to bring up that look. Usually I do walls double thick. That way I can station an archer on top of the wall. So these two spots right here are going to be a wall. And then something to also be, I guess to know, is enemies can scale walls unless you block it. So the third spot here is going to be an overhang of fortifications. Crenulations, I think is what they're called, if I'm saying it right. So the archers have some defense if they're getting shot at by other people that could be higher up here. And with the overhang, an enemy won't be able to crawl up the walls and pop over. A lot of fortresses have died due to a gap in the walls and enemies just pouring right through them and killing everybody inside. So let's unpause the game and let's get back to work here. We're gonna have to move these stockpiles here in a little bit, but I'm thinking for the inner fortress, for the walls here, we're not gonna have multiple entrances and exits. It's just gonna have a central exit, probably right around here, just so it's easier to, well, I guess he was about to channel something and fell down. But just so it's easier to get things in and out of the fortress at the moment. As we expand out, there will be multiple drawbridges and gates and so forth to allow us to move further out in case, say, enemies spawn over here. We can send out a thing of melee doors down here and have them move over this way and then up to hit the enemies that are be here while our archers are firing down on them. Okay, let's pause. The spot is finished right here for a farm plot, so we're gonna hit B and we're gonna hit P. B is for building and then P is for farm plot. Okay, and I'm gonna make it 10 by 10, just for a good solid thing of a good mass field for our starting crops, which will be plump helmets. Plump helmets are useful for eating, but also because they can be brewed to make booze. Well, while our miners are digging and the farmers are setting up the farm plot, let's hit B again, hold down shift and hit C for constructions. And let's get sections of the walls up. You do U and M to change the height, so U would make it, go right there. M would shorten it up. K to go out, and H to bring it in. So let's do that, and let's make it out of wood for right now, even though that seems like something an elf would do. But for right now, we have to work with what we have, and we have a lot of wood. Let's make it about, let's do about there. But let's make it be even with the entranceway. Okay, so it looks like it would be even there. Yeah, let's do there. And more apricot wood. You have to be careful when setting up walls because dwarves can, and most of the time do, accidentally wall themselves in. And I'm cutting down trees around where the walls would be, just so enemies can't climb them.
I can't do it.
And also, while that's getting done, let's start plotting out the fortress. I'd build kind of modular and kind of contained, at least until everything becomes self-sufficient. So this floor is the main entranceway and, well, the above ground stuff. Down here I'll probably keep this for probably like pastures and pens once we get grasses growing underground, which is easy to do and hard to do at the same time. There's multiple ways we can do that, but I tend to just let the grasses grow up from the underground caves, which we'll find eventually. Another way I could do it is like channel down a little opening, like say like here, just channel that entire section out, and it would let light down there, and then build floors right here, and it would still be considered now open to the air, even though it's contained off, and grass will grow in there. But let's hold that off right now. Down here will be the I guess I wouldn't say the central area, but more of a I guess not sure what you'd call it. It'll have a lot of what we will be setting up of, like, say a meeting hall, which will also serve as kind of a dining room, which for everybody, but until we get tavern set up, which then they'll usually go there. The food stockpile, the kitchens, possibly even the well room and the jail, because you eventually will need to build a jail because dwarves can and will break the law, and if you don't have a jail, then the person that's set to enforce the laws will just go around and beat the dwarf the lawbreaker senseless, which can kill them. Probably also the medical wing will be here, somewhere that's nice and contained, which has all the stuff we need. Then I'm just getting the central layout set up for the moment. If I don't tell them to dig right there, they won't get to that. So let's do that also here. This level will be the storehouse, basically. A massive storeroom for everything it will need, because down here is going to be the level of industry. All the stuff we would need industry-wise will be down here. In this area, this is going to be a tricky one. This is going to be a magma reservoir for our forges, because you can do it as a regular forge, which will need coal or burning wood and so on, and that is useful for a time until you start running out of trees, or the elves start coming and grabbing that you're cutting down the forest and threatening war, and then you have to go kill a bunch of elves, which is always kind of fun, but a bit of a hassle at times. So setting up using magma as your fuel source for all the metal work and glass work and so on and so forth is pretty good for that. It's more cost effective. The only thing you have to worry about is things that live in the magma coming into your fort and trying to kill everybody. But there's a way to work around that, and I'll show that whenever it's time. Okay, let's go back to the central stairs. So this section will be the magma section. And then down here is going to be the residence area. For the next 4 floors will be residence of all of our dwarves. So let's go ahead and get, well, let's cancel that at the moment. So this is going to be where all the dwarves will be sleeping once the rooms are set up. And like I said, I build kind of modular because dwarves can only take so many steps before something else starts to tick into the AI of them. Well, I guess the behavior of them, to where going up and down stairs takes 0 time at all. A dwarf can go from down here all the way up to here in the time it would take a dwarf to go from, say, here to here, or maybe even less, probably even just like 2 squares. So if it's contained, they have less to move around, so that it's less they have to wander around. So let's start getting a few things set up. This is also going to be the administration wing in a way, and this will be where our well, a lot of our stuff will be the manager's room, the meeting hall, which whenever we go to talk to you know, traders, they'll want to do that in the meeting hall, or in the noble's bedroom once it gets set up to that point. So I'm starting things here, and let's see. Yeah, we have enough room, so let's put the meeting hall here. Let's make it a 11 by 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the meeting hall for the first part will be this big until we get it a bit bigger. Now, if we want to do a well room later, having it close to an access of water would be good, but we'll have to be careful on setting up a well room with the river up there and dropping water down here. There are water physics in this game, and they are very unforgiving. I accidentally once flooded out an entire section of my fort once by channeling water down into a reservoir, and then the water just didn't stop flowing, and it eventually flooded out my fortress. But we'll probably keep it, we'll probably put the well room somewhere up in here. So that means down here is going to be the kitchens. And let's do a food stockpile here of 11 by 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And this is going to be 2 stockpiles. One is going to be dedicated solely to food, and one is going to be dedicated solely to booze. That way we have a good impression of what's where, or how much we have of what. So let's do another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then let's do the offshoots of where the kitchen will be. I like to keep my industry rooms kind of contained in a way. Well, I wouldn't say contained, I'd say, I guess, centralized. So and almost every crafting station is a 3x3. So this way I can fit, say, 4 stills right here, and then right here 4 kitchens, and then just set that there. And I'm leaving the spots like this right here because that's where doors will go. Not only to make things look nice, but also to contain any spills or rot or miasma. And miasma is usually things that are rotting will put off miasma. And it can make dwarves sick, and it also makes them grumpy. You know, they don't like smelling something that's all kind of funky. So this is going to be the stills, this is going to be the kitchen. Now, of use for later on, this will be the butcher shop. That'll be right there, and connected to it will be the tannery. So that way, whenever we butcher something, it'll go from the butcher shop, the hides will go to the tannery, the meat will go to the kitchens to get cooked up, and then it'll go into the food stockpile. And this right here is just in case we want to expand it later on to something else. Always leave yourself a little bit of room to expand, because you never know when you're going to have something unexpected happen. So there we go, that's pretty good right there. And let's build a spot for a door there, because right there we're going to store... Actually, now let's put that somewhere else. Let's put... yeah, let's put that over here. Oh, mess that up. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to put a store room just for goblets and chalices. Dwarves, they'll drink out of a barrel if they have to, but they really don't like it. They like, however, having a nice little goblet or chalice or mug of some kind to enjoy their booze. So that's actually going to change up a few things. See, it's always good to have multiple options. We'll put the still here, the booze stockpile there, the stockpile for mugs so they can just kind of walk in, grab a mug, go grab a drink, put the mug back. And this will be the kitchen. The butcher shop will be there, and the the tannery will be there. So over here, we're going to have rooms for offices and levers. Levers are needed for drawbridges and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and get that all set up right there. So our miners are going to start digging right there, and that should be pretty good right there. So let's unpause, and because we don't want to overwork them at the moment, because that's going to be a lot of digging, and already they're kind of okay. They canceled that, and they canceled that, and that. But okay, so let's get the walls. Sit right there. Yep, he chopped down a tree and all the wood went into the river. So let's take a look at, there we go. And this is kind of good right here because it's all sand and actually it's all silt, so it's easy for the dwarves to dig in. So our miners are just going to chew right through this and no problem at all. But we're not going to get any stone, and that's what we will need eventually is stone. Because, what are we going to, build everything out of wood? We're not some silly elves. Also, sorry if you hear squeaking or anything. My chair's kind of old. I need to, I guess, use something on it to make it not squeak. So yeah, they're chewing through that, but we're now reaching some obsidian, it looks like. Oh, no, that's not what I want to push. Yeah, now we're reaching a bit of obsidian, which is pretty good because eventually we'll be able to smooth that out, because you can't smooth out or engrave dirt, basically. So part of the meeting hall isn't going to be all that pretty, but some of it is going to be very good looking once we get up to making a grand hall. And as you can see, stone takes a little bit more to cut through, so they're slowed down so long as they're working on the stone. But as soon as they finish that, well, you saw how they were doing the, see, it took them a while to get through the stone, but once they hit the dirt, they just chewed right on through. Okay, let's go back up here. Okay, we're eventually going to have gates here and here. But let's also start getting the walls that we'll be needing up here set up. Now I'm doing 2 spots in because even though it would be, like I said, it's 2 spots in right there. Things can move not only in the 4 cardinal directions, but they also can move diagonally. So if I just started a wall here, to block this off, something that's right here could just easily just hop over here onto the wall and run amok. So I'm putting it 2 spots in, so nothing can get over there. And let's continue on setting up the wall. And we only need to go to there. Really? So now let's check out the area down here. Well, they're doing pretty good, so let's set up our first stockpile. Okay. Food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's going to be for food. How we tell that to do is we hit Q, and you'll see right here, change settings. So we want meat, we want fish, we want unprepared fish, that'll go in there, eggs, plants. We don't want drinks, so we'll hit F to forbid the drinks. We'll also forbid drinks from animals, which is mead and bumblebee mead, which dwarves like that out of all the drinks, the beers and ales and so forth, and wines. But it's a bit harder to make because we need to start a a bee farm basically. We'll allow cheeses. We won't allow seeds. The reason for that is we're going to be storing the seeds up at the farms, so the farmers don't have to run down, grab a handful of seeds, run back up, plant them, run back down. Okay, fruit and leaves will be there. Milled plants. Fat we'll have for the moment. We'll put fat there, but eventually we'll probably move it closer towards the butchery, so it can be contained there before it can be turned into tallow. And we'll get into that later. Pastes, we'll leave that there for the moment. We'll have to mess with that later as well. Pressed materials, which is like, well, as you can see, flaxseed press cake, hemp seed press cake. It's just cakes and stuff. Oils, we'll leave that in there as well. Same with extracts, which is like, well, black scorpion venom, but also donkey's milk. And miscellaneous liquids, which is lye and milk of lime, which that'll be useful as well later on. So we got that stockpile set there, and we're gonna cut for right here, and I'll see you in the next film whenever we hopefully start getting more set up. It's slow in the early stages, but it's well worth getting everything sorted out early on, so you can work everything you need later. Thank you for watching. Like I said, please hope to see you in the next film. Thank you for watching.